For a while now, people in the media have been reporting that Justin Jefferson could allegedly get traded. And this has always been my reaction.
Yeah, right.
No way in chance. No way in chance.
Huh?
No way in hell that was ever going to happen. And now it is official as Justin Jefferson inks a deal with the Minnesota Vikings, which will have him here until he's 29 years old, which is almost the end of his prime. Maybe 29, 30 years old is the end of his prime. But the details on Justin Jefferson's extension via Spot Track. 4 years, $140 million new. 5 years, $159.7 million total. 88.7 guaranteed at signing. $38 million in cash in 2024. 4 years, $125.7 million practical, it says. And the cap hits, this is the big one, because we all know or are aware of or I hope so, the amount of money the Minnesota Vikings have available to them next offseason. And here are the cap hits. 2024, $8.5 million. 2025, $15.3 million. 2026, $39.1 million. 2027, $43.4 million. 2028, $47.3 million. And 2029 is $6 million in dead cap. So in the final 2 years of Justin Jefferson's deal, he averages $45 million per year. Now, that's a lot of money. But here's the deal. When Justin Jefferson's contract is over, J.J. McCarthy, his 5th-year contract is also over if the Minnesota Vikings decide to pick up his option. My best guess, or my prediction, is that Justin Jefferson is not a part of the Minnesota Vikings at the end of this contract because of several factors. Let's say, hypothetical number one, J.J. McCarthy is a bust. Well, the Minnesota Vikings are going to have to go full-on rebuild again. Justin Jefferson's not going to want to be a part of that. He's going to demand a trade out of here. Hypothetical number two, J.J. McCarthy is elite, and the Minnesota Vikings are forced to pay him. Well, paying J.J. McCarthy whatever quarterbacks are going to be making at that point in time in the NFL, probably $60 to $70 million a year, and then paying Justin Jefferson $47 million a year probably isn't going to cut it. The Minnesota Vikings are going to have to part ways. But now is an exciting time because this was a deal that we all knew was going to get done eventually. At least those with realistic, logical minds. Because Justin Jefferson was on a rookie contract for a long time. And this is his first big contract in the NFL. And most great players, whether it's the NFL or NBA, sign their first big contract with their first team. It doesn't look good to force your way out before you sign your big contract. You get your big contract. If the team stinks it up for a few years, then you fight your way out of here. But Justin Jefferson really played his cards well. He wasn't a drama queen. He didn't demand a trade. He wasn't tweeting these random cryptical things that the media has to try to interpret and fans are going to take and run with. Media too. He didn't unfollow the Minnesota Vikings on social media or, do something stupid like that, which send subliminal signals to the team, to the organization that he's not happy. He did this like a mature, responsible, professional athlete. And I'm not going to come up here and say that this was the most high-classed response by an NFL wide receiver in the history of the league, because I don't know what other teams go through, and I don't know what their star players did. That would be very hyperbole to say that. But I can say this. He handled this really well. And I don't even think that's doing it justice, because Justin Jefferson, he could have been a diva wide receiver if he wanted to be. He could have made this difficult for the Minnesota Vikings to work with his team and work with him to get this contract extension done. But there was no drama. There was no issue with the quarterback replacement. You know, people thought that once Kirk Cousins left, that JJ might throw a hissy fit and want to have an elite arm back there at the quarterback position. That didn't happen. They brought in Sam Darnold, who's been all over the league, who I expect to have a great year this year. And then they brought in JJ McCarthy out of Michigan with the number 10 overall pick. 2 non-guaranteed players, or 2 non-proven players at the quarterback position. And JJ didn't throw a fit. He didn't throw any fuss towards the Minnesota Vikings direction. And now the deal is done. And Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah had comments. He said, "We are elated to sign Justin, and I want to thank him, his family, his representation, our staff, specifically Rob Brzezinski and Emily Battis, and the Wilf family for helping complete this monumental contract. From the moment I arrived in Minnesota, Justin has consistently proven to be one of the best players in the NFL on and off the field," which is actually very, very true when he talks about him being off the field, one of the great players. "And we are excited about having him as a cornerstone of our team for a long time to come. He is the living embodiment of our culture with his joyful dedication to process and our goals. We couldn't be more excited for Justin and his family." You know, some players like to make this a big deal in terms of making it difficult for a team to sign him. And as I've said multiple times, this was very clean when it could have been very dirty. JJ could have made this drawn out. He could have waited till the regular season started. He could have even not signed the deal now and waited until next offseason, which would really force the Minnesota Vikings' hand when the franchise tag comes into question and things like that. And you know, star wide receivers in the NFL hate that scenario. So now the Minnesota Vikings have their best wide receiver, the best wide receiver in the NFL, signed until he's 29 years old. And this is a very good thing. And Minnesota Vikings fans should be very pleased with the Minnesota Vikings organization, with Justin Jefferson's agent, and with Justin Jefferson himself, because he's a star wide receiver, and he could have made this difficult, but he didn't. If you've been following the Minnesota Tim podcast on Apple or Spotify or on YouTube, you know that I like to have a little fun. I've been playing YouTube videos from this Twitter thread. Funniest moments caught on live TV. And today, it appears to be something happening in London, I think. Looks like it's an interview happening in London. But I don't need to draw it out any longer. Just laugh and enjoy this moment.
You know this apparent all-American hero, don't want to spoil the plot, but you're not a conventional hero.
Sure.
This is you as an all-American, and a big opportunity for you in Hollywood. You must have had to beat off a lot of American men to get this part. Why does that make you giggle? Did you not have to beat them off?
You actually, to get the role, there was a few men up for the role as well. There were.
And compose yourself. Okay, Dad, were there lots of other American Americans up for this role?
I guess there were. When I sat down with the director, Adam Wingard, it was very apparent that we had a very similar twisted sense of humour, and we wanted to have a lot of fun with this and make people laugh with it. And that's exactly what you've done to me this morning. And I hope we can do with the guests. You know, I think it's the right.
Beat off a lot of American men to get this. I mean, there has to be another way to word that question. I mean,
You kidding me?
What a question. I mean, couldn't you phrase the question and say something like, didn't you have a lot of competition to get to this part? Or how many guys did you have to compete against to get this part? Were there a lot of people up for this? There are a zillion different ways to word this question. And you know what she says? She says, did you have to beat off a lot of American men to get this part? Oh, seriously. That is one of the funniest interview. And I love how he didn't stay composed. You know, just laugh. Enjoy the moment. Oh, man. And she didn't even realize what she said at first. I think she eventually got it. But it took a moment. All right, thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button right there. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please rate, review, and follow this podcast wherever you're listening to this podcast. Everyone, take care, and you guys have a great day.